welcome everyone to this COMMSEC track within the virtual Hack in the Box CyberWeek. This year, of course, we organized a virtual version of this event, which is usually huge and absolutely fantastic, but we decided to sponsor it anyway, to support the community and to offer to young researchers and to anyone actually 19 very cool, highly technical talks in the next 2 days. So the COMMSEC track, which is free to attend, starts today and will end tomorrow in the late afternoon. So my role is at the same time to introduce the COMMSEC track and to thank you for attending it, of course, and to be with us, and also to give a brief presentation about us, CrowdFence, so about what the company is doing and why, and what are our plans and the next steps. While doing this, I will give you also a few interesting information about our perspective on the zero-day market. So without much ado, let me share the screen with the slides. I go very briefly, but since we have this very nice Brella interface for this virtual event, if you have any questions or if you want to go deeper, just contact me, and I'll be glad to answer and to discuss with you. So this is the third year that we are sponsoring the COMMSEC track, actually, and every time we decided to give the same talk in terms of title. The title is always the same, but every time we update it and we change it a little bit and we improve on the concepts, and also we give more information. So let's see the agenda. Well, first of all, we will briefly go through what is CrowdFence. Then we will talk about the zero-day market as it is today, as we see it. And then how we try to improve it, which jokingly we say we try to hack it. Okay, it's a pun, of course. We're trying to improve it. And then we will go through how fielding 0 days in the real world for offensive purposes works in practice. And this is very important because this information are not very commonly discussed. There's a lot of hype, a lot of noise, a lot of wrong conceptions, a lot of articles written by people that don't have any clue about how this really works. So from time to time, we like to give a few insights on what's happening behind the scenes. And then, of course, how we can help in terms of our products and services, both for collaborating with partners, with integrators, with end users, and of course, with researchers, which for us are extremely important, as you can easily understand. So what is CrowdFence? CrowdFence is based in the UAE. It's independent, and at this point is a world-class offensive security research and development hub, which was designed with the purpose of serving both researchers and end users in a better way. So we apply the same logics that are applied in other enterprise-level businesses, trying to remove from the field of the zero-day trading the old crafts of the trade, the old practices, which mostly are bad practices from a business point of view. We select a few, very few, selected institutional customers, either directly or through partners. And at this point, we have a highly actionable portfolio of capabilities, which are not only 0 days, intelligence-grade zero days, but also specialized offensive and defensive tools. Zero-day market developed from the ground up. It's something that emerged spontaneously from underground of researchers, black hats, and people that loved to tinker with computers. And when institutional customers realized that they could have use for this research, they started to buy in a very informal and, I would say, opaque way. Of course, zero-day exploits, especially the good ones, are very powerful because they can be used to remotely compromise a device and beside install something on the device or alter the security model of the device for some purpose. Let me say that we don't deal with the development of implants, and we don't deal with the development of so-called cyber weapons. We try to avoid at all costs to be involved with that kind of developments, but still there's a lot of interesting uses for zero days for intelligence gathering and investigations. The subset of zero days which can be used for intelligence and investigation activities is very small. It's really a small subset of the overall number of zero days which at any given moment are available on the market. The main issues with the market is that it developed in an unsafe, chaotic, inefficient way from a business point of view. It's a zero trust environment, which is understandable, but this creates a lot of friction, a lot of entropy, a lot of issues, and slows down and hampers the ability of institutional organizations to pursue their goals, which in nowadays world is bad. And also researchers are often underpaid and their efforts are getting exponentially more complicated because the average security of products is fortunately improving. This creates a talent vacuum, which is bad because many researchers are doing this as a second job or do it for a couple of years and then get tired of the uncertainty and leave for something more certain. Also, there are two more issues. From the demand side, customers have no guarantees. Usually, what they buy is not only very easily perishable and has a very short lifespan, but there are no guarantees. And the risk also of scams is very high. So it's really to synthesize, it's a mess. So how can such a mess be sustainable? It isn't. Actually, it isn't. So we decided to change slowly this situation over time by doing some specific actions. Okay, so the first is that we are protecting researchers with fair contracts, and we offer them significant payouts for their efforts, which means that they can concentrate on their job, on doing what they do best without worrying. For the customers, this allows also to efficiently allocate economic resources because there is a return on investment also on zero days that can be calculated and improved and managed. Also, we try to reduce unnecessary middlemen, and by unnecessary, I mean those that don't bring any added value to the supply chain. There are some which are bringing added value, and we are very happy to collaborate with them. But historically, many strange figures appeared which actually are not helpful at all. And also, finally, we develop and spread best practices standards, methodologies, something that can help us to give a shape and a sense to this job. So how do we hack the zero-day market, so to speak? Well, first of all, we decided to launch a public bug bounty program or zero-day acquisition program in 2018, backed by a $10 million fund at the time. And then we increased the scope and the funds and increased also the payouts in 2019, and we confirmed the same for 2020, which was a very strange year, by the way, but not so strange or not so bad as people might imagine. So after 3 years, by the end of this year, we will have invested 40 million in the acquisition of intelligence-grade zero days. And we did it through the creation of a quite unusual platform, which we call the Vulnerability Research Hub, or VRH, which is end-to-end encrypted, zero trust based as a model web application that can be used by researchers to submit their research by following a very simple workflow. And from then on, we can evaluate, manage this submission, discuss it, make questions, and so on, until we reach better understanding of what is being offered, and eventually that will lead to a negotiation and to a purchase. People can submit their research either if it falls within the scope of the bug bounty program, which is public, or also by freely proposing other research, which we will evaluate. Of course, we have a code of conduct. So, for example, we will not accept submission regarding healthcare, wearable devices. That kind of stuff is, in our opinion, to be avoided. Although it is very interesting to research it, but it is not to be used for institutional purposes. And the acquisition and testing process follows this workflow. You see on the left, from point 1 to point 6, how we go through the process. And on the right, I want to show you how, in reality, the intelligence-grade zero days funnel works. So only very few zero days are good enough for our customers. And the intelligence-grade zero days are really rare. So out of 100 good submissions, because those bugs are real, those zero days, those exploits are working, and maybe also their reliability is good, and the target is interesting, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, most of them will not be fielded, will not be used, will not make it into the field. And our estimate is that it's like 5%, the number of reliable, stealth, good enough zero days that can be fielded over 100 submissions. You can see how the funnel is getting steeper and steeper in the different steps of our evaluation. Maybe, just to give you an example, when we reach the delivery stage, there is an amazing capability that after 1 week is patched. So this also depends on the fact that the shelf life of these products is extremely variable and on average quite short. So when zero days are associated to weapons, this is a completely wrong metaphor. Zero days, I like to say, are more like vegetables. They don't last long, right? And they have a lot of issues if they're not handled with care. So how it works in practice? Well, there are a lot of processes and things that we do, and I want to show you just a couple of them. Well, first of all, 0 days are not all born equal, but on the market, apparently they're all treated in the same way. Only the price changes. This is, in our opinion, unacceptable because there are different risks associated to different types of targets and different types of bugs. So one of the things that we do, which we developed internally, is to elaborate a set of risk indexes, which are based on the specific features of the exploit, on the use cases, and on the customer. And this is just an example of this K-risk index that we calculated for one specific asset by giving an evaluation of all those categories that you see. And of course, we don't want to create issues or to put ourselves in a bad position or to put our customer in a bad position, or even worse, to put a researcher in a bad position. So the risk assessment is fundamental. And as far as we know, nobody's doing it. So this is very important in our opinion. And here are some statistics. Of course, these are not up-to-date statistics, but they refer to 2019. So in 2019, at the end of the year, after 12 months, 93% of the 125 intelligence-grade exploits that we managed were still 0 day. And 89% of those were still available for purchase, which means that they were not sold exclusively. Now, this is very important because the average lifespan of these products, if they are not managed properly, is much shorter. And this gives a good return on investment to customers, and also reduces the unnecessary research that is going on, which is, of course, consuming a lot of resources, because on average, 0 days are patched so quickly. This is not necessary, and we found ways to avoid it as much as possible. So these 0 days have a return on investment since they were managed in this way, which is for the customer between 70 and 200% higher than without applying these procedures and processes. Of course, this requires a lot of effort. So I'm not going to say that this is easy. This is very complex, very expensive, and very tricky to achieve. But this makes this work and this field sustainable, because otherwise we did the math and it's not sustainable. It's basically a loss of money, but it doesn't have to be. Also, another thing that must be remembered is that different classes of targets have different rates of patching. Different vendors will patch their products with a different speed by dedicating more or less resources. They will be more or less easy to patch, and so on and so on. So again, not only all 0 days are born equal, they are not, but also the way they are treated, they are researched, they are found, they are exploited, and also they are patched are completely different. So by having enough statistics, we can tell which exploit is more promising in terms of lifespan, in terms of efficacy, and in terms of return on investment for the customer. Some families of 0 days are really, really not interesting from a business point of view because of this reason. Others are more interesting, and for others, something can be done to improve the lifespan. But this is a lot of work. I am probably simplifying here, but it requires really a lot of thinking and a lot of work, and also to be constantly up to date. Like every hour, things change, and we must also take this into account. So, what we do and how we can help. We do zero-day exploit scouting, testing, procurement, with the purpose of providing a steady stream of highly effective zero-day exploits. And this is our core business, basically. Of course, it is super important, the vetting of the customers. And this is also a big part of our work. Also because honestly, we don't know and we cannot know what exactly they will do with these products. So we must do prevention, so to speak, and monitor the situation very closely. We also offer end-day vulnerability weaponization. They can have some interesting application too. This is on demand because on average, our customers are not really into this kind of products. And then we also design special tools and we develop them, both defensive and offensive. Of course, there are some very interesting defensive applications that can be designed and developed thanks to the know-how that we have on the offensive side. And I would say that the more and more we go on, the more these special developments of defensive solutions based on offensive knowledge would be requested by nations and by customers. We also manage at this point a big network of offensive researchers all over the world, either through the VRH or directly. And this huge pool of talents is, of course, providing extremely exciting research and development capabilities, and also integration services and maintenance services, which is what we discussed before, which means that in case someone is patched, we strive to provide a replacement, which is not also very common yet. But again, will become common because this is what customers want. They don't want that specific exploit. They want to have that kind of coverage on a certain target. That's all they want. So we are working towards achieving this goal. It is not always possible, but it makes a big difference already. So this is the last slide. And then I will leave you with the COMMSEC track talks. Of course, in this world, we cannot do everything by ourselves. So we are extremely open to evaluate partnerships with national defense suppliers, industry, academia, and also to develop together consulting services, training services, evaluation services, also in terms of certifications and lab analysis. Also, we are interested into finding interesting projects, opportunities where we can do investment into the development of something, which could be new products, new ideas, new tools, and also in funding specific offensive research efforts, especially in new areas. And finally, and as you can see, we decided that it is important to talk about these things, to at least to a certain degree, trying to bring transparency in this field. And therefore, we have a public image instead of being hidden in a basement. And we do it on purpose because this discussion will help the whole field to grow and improve and become a better environment for all the parties involved. So we sponsor and attend many cyber offensive events worldwide, and we are interested into the organization of dedicated events aimed at customers and at researchers. And this is, of course, again, in order to broaden our network of researchers, partners, suppliers, and customers. So if there is any cool event that you are planning or that you have in mind or that you will attend, just let us know. We could be interested into supporting it and into creating a conversation. My time is almost finished, but this was the last slide. So I really don't want to steal any second to the COMMSEC track and to the other speakers, which are amazing. I had the pleasure to participate to the selection of the papers, and it was really hard to select these 19 talks because we received so many interesting submissions. So thank you for attending this session. I wish that you will enjoy and find some benefit from following the COMMSEC track talks. And I hope that we can meet in person soon. And that would be a fantastic day. But for now, enjoy the COMMSEC track. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for your talk here. I believe people will be able to find you on the Brella platform, right? Am I right?
Yes, of course. It's me and some of my colleagues that will be monitoring the platform in the next days. So any question, any message, any request for a meeting, whatever you want, guys, just let us know and we will be available.
Nice. Well, then I'd like to thank you very much for this talk, Andrea, again.
Yes, my pleasure.